the amazing Governor of Western Australia to come and open the conference for us. Kim Beazley, come on down.
Thank you so much, Barbie, for that lovely introduction and that surprising understanding you gave us of your fabulous origins. It's something that conjures with, to be able to count in your genetic structure, your relationship with the oldest civilization on Earth. And it is indeed the representatives here in this state of that original and oldest culture that I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, which in this specific area are the Wadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. And I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and that includes Auntie Marie, who always does a fantastic welcome to country. This probably doesn't happen to most of you, but I get welcome to country about 2 or 3 times a week, and it's starting to prey on my mind. It's because gradually you do absorb the extent to which we have been preceded by so very long. I was recently, I'm diverting here, so I'll probably go a bit over length, but I was recently down in Bunbury. The governor gets out and about and makes visits to various parts of the state. And before I went down there, I was talking to Peter Clinton, who's the chief scientist here, and he has a bit of an interest, as I have, in deconstructing Aboriginal dreaming and stories, because you actually get to learn from the content of them a lot about the actual history of this country. You have to sort of carefully listen to what's been said and get the events in sort of historical perspective. And just before I went down to Bunbury, this conversation was about the fact that right down the coast there's quite a number of nations in the Noongar Nation overall. And all of us, Bunbury South, they all in their dreaming have a sort of great flood experience somehow incorporated within it. And he said, yes, the geologists went down there and did a study. And the last time a massive tsunami hit the south coast was 27,000 years ago. And I went to the Dolphin Centre, which Bunbury people are enormously proud of. And I guess we're quite dismissive of it, but the rest of the broader community, but it has a sort of founding dream. And that is a story of a great tide coming in and sweeping the children in particular, but also some adults out to sea. And they returned as dolphins in the sort of dreaming statement. I suppose all the rest of us who are not part of that community thought, oh yeah, it was another interesting Aboriginal piece of mythology. It absolutely happened, not necessarily the returning as dolphins, but the event they were talking about happened. That's 27,000 years ago. It's been in their story, in their mind for 27. That is pre-Ice Age. And that is a further attestation to the fact that the only part of the globe that has real Ice Age, pre-Ice Age memories is here. Because 85% of humanity was wiped out by the Ice Age. So in Europe and Asia and Africa, you had about, pockets left. They weren't coherent structures, they were pockets. Except here, because Indigenous Australians only lost about 50%. So they were actually able to keep a coherent structure and merge with that. That's something to read to kids about, by the way. It's quite important. Can I acknowledge Barbie Bates, who's the Executive Director of Paper Town Red, particularly Rhonda Brain, OAM, who is the founder of Paper Town Red, Colin Peckett, the Commissioner Save the Children, and Associate Professor Brett Hart of Curran University, who we'll hear from a bit later. Harmony Day, yes, that's the day. This puts an absolute premium on the way our minds are formed and what we are left with at the conclusion of our childhood and how we see the rest of the world. What we all hope for is to see emerge from our children not what happened in Christchurch. That's what we all hope and pray for. And I can't help feeling that one of the very good reasons for being here is that the process that you are sponsoring, arguing for, encouraging, movementing about is actually the sort of childhood experience that is most unlikely to produce an adult outcome anywhere near approaching the people who are now joined together to persecute others. So let me first commence by reading a message on the Paint Australia Red Book Relay from Her Excellency Lady Cosgrove, patron of Paint the Town Red, and I take it one of the points of this gathering is either part of or about to start that relay. And she says this: the world of reading, with all of its stories of imagination, adventure and fantasy, is such an important and wonderful part of childhood. This book relay across Australia encourages a love of books among our children and reminds us of the importance of reading to them. Reading is the first step in learning and something we can all enjoy and share together today and every day. Let's paint the town red, says Lady Cosgrove. I want to commend her and the Governor-General for serving as Vice-Regal patrons for Paint the Town Red, along with a large list of patronages across diverse sectors such as health, children and families, Indigenous people, regional Australia, education, the arts, defence, services. Paint the Town Red has identified that more than 20% of Australian children arrive at school without the skills necessary to make the most of their early education. In their work motivating and building the capacity of communities, PTTR contribute to lessening this statistic and ensuring children are provided with the skills necessary to read, to write in school. From its initial development in the 1990s, in the New South Wales town of Parkes, where PTTR founder Rhonda Brain was once principal of the Parkes Public School, the outstanding work of Paint the Town Red can now be seen in over 80 communities across 4 states in Australia, and it's only continuing to grow. Parkes, the town, is really one of the foundation towns of Australia. But it was a focal point of the movement for an Australian federation, and now it's the focal point of this movement for Australian kids to be absolutely spot on in their literacy. 14 PTTR sites are located across regional and metropolitan WA. I understand that Onslow, located in the Pilbara region of WA, was the first remote community site established by the PTTR. And I congratulate Rhonda, the Executive Director Barbie Bates, and the broader Paint the Town Red group on the great work they're doing now to foster and promote a literacy culture in community groups, agencies and businesses across Australia. The success of this movement, and it's already a success, is testament to Rhonda's vision, hard work and commitment to promote the importance of early childhood development. And I'm also encouraged by the contributions of Barbie Bates establishing the multicultural and Aboriginal models of PTTR. I had no idea that she had special qualifications in relation to a capacity to do that. When I consider the theme of this year's conference, books and bonding builds brains, it's what the doctor orders. I'm reminded of how critical the first 1,000 days of a child's life are for brain development and function. Early childhood literacy can play a central role in ensuring that children are provided with core literacy skills which will aid in their success in school. Everything I do with social organisations that have any relationship to culture or to literacy or to education brings this home to me time and time again. Quite most interestingly, I do sort of functions for the Telethon Kids Foundation, which does such fabulous research into health needs of children. And one thing they told me at one of the fundraising meals I was holding for them was that they had discerned that if you can get autism in the first 6 months of life, you can cure it. Now this hasn't gone very far, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get it. But if you have a trained person looking at the baby and looking at the baby's eye movements, you can actually tell that the baby is at high risk of emerging autistic, and you can actually cure it. And one of the ways of curing it is what you're doing. You know, it's the way in which you focus on rendering coherent the baby's understanding. And I don't want to go too far with this because we don't actually have the mechanisms in place around the country to get to grips with this. And it's still an area of research where academics would say yet to be demonstrated. Interesting theory. But nevertheless, you know, all of us, I think, have some experience. One of the things that worries me about contemporary approaches to using your literate understanding is that basically we are developing a sort of what the Buddhists would call monkey brain approach to reading. That is, if you're operating off the net, you get a massive amount of information, but what you don't get is lengthy, coherent, logical formulation of concepts and arguments. You only get that from books. You can't get that off. Oh, I suppose if you're getting the book off the net, that it works a bit that way. But hard to get kids to, even contemporary, to get tablets. It's a wonderful experience to give them a feel of literacy, and the feel of literacy comes really from books, and the start of a love of books is for the child to see a parent who loves the book and is just working through the book for them. So this is an enormously important movement, enormously important for actually civilising us, and so it's such a good thing that you are meeting together in this way, and you've got yourself a good patron in Lynn Cosgrove. So it gives me great pleasure to officially open the 7th National Early Learning Conference here in Fremantle, and I congratulate all of those who are participating in the Paint Australia Red Book Relay, celebrating the importance of early literacy. I thank you for what you're doing for the country, in the work that you have enveloped yourselves in, and I look forward to hearing stories of the relay which will travel from here across the country, ending, I believe, in Wollongong.